Ladies and gentlemen, VirtualMan back at it again, this time with a 256 gigabyte image for the Raspberry Pi 3B and B Plus. And man, is this a gem. All those fixes, all the feedback, all put into the latest build of RetroPie for just gaming goodness all around. Bezels, all the bells and whistles, some beautiful themes here as you see. A ton of, I already mentioned 30 systems, over 12,000 titles. And it's all working. 1,700 arcade games. All the metadata and artwork is scraped on this. A lot of the scripts and everything set up on this. No track mode, but that's fine. You know, Emulation Station these days is looking pretty. So with all that said, let's go ahead and dive in. Let's see what we got here. And then there's a couple fixes you might want to do on your build. Here we are, VirtualMan, 256 gigabyte image, and this thing is packing. He even said himself this is probably one of his last images, and I don't blame him because, as he mentioned, you know, we're starting to get to the limit of the Raspberry Pi 3. You know, I just did a PC build, and you can see that a stronger processor, stronger graphics card is just going to run those, you know, Dreamcast, GameCube, PlayStation 2, and those systems that just require a little more oomph to get them moving. So as far as a Raspberry Pi image goes, though, this is just amazing. Everything from all the configs all set up, all the artwork. Any game you go to, you'll find a JPEG and a video, and it's just gorgeous. All the systems set up as much as they can be. A couple little things you got to set up on your own, but full ports all already set up for your game pads as well. PSP minis added. 1,750 arcade games on here. So if you're looking for an arcade set for your bar top, look no further. It also has Dafne pre-installed as well. I know a lot of you with the bar tops out there like the Dafne collection on there. So you go, nice little Dafne collection. Again, all set up to your controller as well. And if you do have any issues with like Dafne, for example, I think there's a file you may have to delete that's in his release notes. If you do have that issue, I didn't have that issue. He you know, helps you out, and he has all the feedback and the fixes on all that stuff. You know, as this is XI, the reason being we went from 8 to XI is kind of like the iPhone went from iPhone 8 to iPhone 10. So here we are. In case you're wondering how that whole numbering system worked. And so let's go ahead and start it from the top. So starting off with Amiga, 911 games. By the way, all games is 12,767 30 systems. So 911 Amiga, arcade classics. This is what I was telling you about. He said he has pretty much all these games working. He said the only arcade game that he thinks might not be up to people's standards is the Crackdown game. He says slow gameplay but playable. Everything else, good to go. Atari 2600, 630, 7858, Commodore 64, 3200, Vision 140, Dafne 11, pretty big Dafne set. Most people just do like 2 or 3. Dreamcast 31, so quite a few Dreamcast games here, and that's what you're getting on the 256 gigabyte that you wouldn't get with like a 128 or something smaller. And a lot of these games will play on the Pi just fine. If your controller's not working for Dreamcast, there's a Dreamcast controller setup in RetroPie setup because Dreamcast runs on a separate emulator called Rycast. And that's not running RetroArch, so you have to sometimes set that up separately, but that's just a standard thing. Game & Watch 55, Game Boy 558, Game Boy Advance 1026, and I've showed this off before, but when you load a game, there's custom launch screens, but also custom bezels, not only in the arcade set with the bezel project, but also in like the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, you have the automatically the resolution set up perfectly for you, so it looks great. All right, Game Boy Color 533, Intellivision 137, Sega Master System 277, Sega Genesis 782 on here. And again, beautiful, beautiful metadata, everything. Nintendo 64 300. The reason why you brought in so many Nintendo 64 is as the emulator gets better, a lot of these games will run on the Raspberry Pi. Some people say it's fine. Some people are like, not even going to try, but I like that they're included, especially on a 256 gigabyte. 50 Nintendo DS, kind of the top 50. These run good. They definitely run. Neo Geo 141, Nintendo 781 ports. As I mentioned, those are full versions. So they're going to run just great. They're pre-set up for Xbox 360 controller, but if you want to use keyboard and mouse or just keyboard, you could definitely get that set up as well. PSP Minis, 15. Some little fun little games in here if you haven't tried them out already. PlayStation 235. So this is one of his claims to fame, is his huge PlayStation collection. Some people might be having issues with the sound on PlayStation, and so what I understand is, I've never had to do this fix myself, but what you do is you go into the config, go like network into your Pi, go to the config files, go to the configs PSX folder, then retroarch.cfg, which is a config file, open it up in WordPad, and then there should be something called video_threaded, and it should equal false. Go ahead and change that to true, exit out, it'll say, do you want to save? Say yes. Reboot your Pi. You might not even need to reboot, and you should be set. All right, so PSP, and 95 of these games run great. So a lot of fun right here, just in this huge PlayStation collection. PlayStation Classic, eat your heart out. I would pick this over that any day of the week. All right, a lot of scripts, things installed, Bezel Project, background music. Already has pre-installed with background music. I turned mine off for this video. You can leave that on or turn it off, add your own. ScumVM 100 games. So this is cool. He combined Residual VM and ScumVM emulator into one, so it's a seamless selection. And if you've never played these games before, some of my personal favorites are, the Dig and Full Throttle. But also, this is cool. He even has video snaps. So cool. But some of his favorites as well is the Grim Fandango, Myst 3, and Escape from Monkey Island. So, Grim Fandango, really cool game as well. Sega Genesis 32X, 32, fitting. Sega CD 55, Super Nintendo 788, TurboGrafx 16, 94, TurboGrafx CD 40 of these. So a lot more CD games on this 256. Vectrex 26. Beat 'em ups is a collection. These are all collections. Arcade old school, those really old school arcade games. A lot of fun here. Great place to find some awesome games to play. And Sega Classics Shoot 'em ups, another collection. And here we are back at the beginning. So massive, massive image, pretty comprehensive if you ask me. A work of art. Another little quick thing to do, you just have to do is start the emulator for Amiga, go down to chipset on the left side here, and then just click AGA from OCS, and then quit. And then now all your Amiga games should work. You just have to change that manually. It's really easy to do. You can do it with the controller. guy doesn't know what's up. Even the cops can't get me. Look at that. Clean as a whistle. Did I just kill somebody with those umbrellas? Oh, there's gold in there. You want to kill the umbrellas. Got him. That game's working good. You've seen me play most of these games. Might as well load a PlayStation, since a lot of what is on here is just a ton of PlayStation games. And we've had some, PlayStation specific images in the past. And so this one definitely competes with a lot of those, but it gives you so much more as well. I like how clean the bezels are. And if you have a like a 4K TV or something like that, you can change the aspect ratio. He tells you how to do that in the walkthrough. Come on, buddy. Slice and dice. Is this a mirror matchup? No. Ooh. Ooh. There we go. So as you can see, that's running great. Start select out, because I set my hotkey to select. And that's pretty much it. I want to keep this kind of clean and to the point. So my grade A+. Awesome stuff. It's worth waiting to get all this stuff. He really did a great job. And little side story, he actually released this like a week ago, and then he found a couple issues and he had to fix it because RetroArch had a couple issues in it. And he's just such a perfectionist that he re-released the whole image. So the one you guys are all hearing about, talking about, is the correct one. That one didn't really see the light of day. And so really, I'm just stunned by all this. Great guy, really making some great stuff. And, I can't find anything to knock this image. It's using the majority of its space, using that space for CD-based games and some good CD-based games. To me, again, a lot of this is preference, but I mean, there's PS1 games, the scumvm games, the TurboGrafx CD games, that arcade set. I don't mind my space being, taken up by that. A few more extra Dreamcast games. That's actually how I would probably build it if I was to do it myself. So we're loving it. Really, really enjoying this one. So with all that said, that's what I think. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.